Hello everybody, it's my privilege to introduce to you, all the way from the south side of Chicago, the man, the myth, the legend, my Theo, your brother, the Southside Unicorn.
Hey everybody, it's Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show, and it is Wassup Saturdays. Man, the time is just flying by. We have so much to talk about in all these different shows, so I guess it's just flipping the calendar. We're already into October, deep 5th day of October already. Gonna interrupt the show basically for a bit of a breaking news. Now look, I said it in the show, don't live in sandcastles. It was a warning. It was a warning that there was more to this Amber Geiger, Dallas police officer shooting Mr. John in his home than that police department, than that city, than certain organizations wanted us to know. It didn't make sense from the get-go. And so I warned people, don't live in sandcastles. You know, the castle rule and all this kind of stuff. Well, sadly, it appears that one of the witnesses, Mr. Brown, who testified in the case because he lived in the same apartment complex as the two ill-fated people. He was 28 years of age, and he testified in the Geiger trial about the night that Gene was killed. Well, sadly, he's been shot to death, and he has passed away. He's gone. Now, you do the mathematical odds of the one witness who spoke about that shooting after the verdict, after the sentencing, within 24 hours, he gets some bullets too. You guys keep thinking that this stuff is hunky-dory, cool, and easy to deal with. You keep on thinking that. And I'm going to keep on speaking the truth, because this is the Southside Unicorn Show. I'm not selling you no books. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I'm telling you the truth because that's all that matters at the end of the day. I'm not doing conspiracy theory. I'm telling you stuff that reveals itself after I speak it. So when are you going to catch on? Do I sound a little hot and tot? Yes, I do. I got a message to give you, and you're not listening. This is worse and more than you think it is because you've been lulled into a sense of false security by both sides. By both sides. They're all hustling us. Every day I'm hustling. Every day I'm hustling. We're all hustlers in the dope show. This is bad, people. Within 24 hours, the witness in a murder case is shot himself to death, and we'll think it a coincidence, or we'll think it's just some rage because, some rogue white supremacists are out there. They're not rogue. They're doing this on purpose. And some of them are wearing badges. That's right, I said it. I cannot believe I said it. I used to wear a badge my damn self. But you cannot, look, you eliminate the impossible, and no matter how improbable, whatever remains is the truth. There's something up, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I promised everybody, because I've been getting hits and clicks about it, look, Adam Schiff needs to go, Adam Schiff needs to go to jail, y'all. He needs to go directly to jail. There was a movie that I saw with Al Pacino in it. It was beautiful. He was a lawyer, and he was defending another judge. I think he was defending a judge, and that judge was a pedophile. That judge was an abusive, sadistic SOB, and accidentally got one of Al Pacino's clients killed. If anybody can remember the name of that movie, will you please chime in at Ken White 4444. Go onto my Twitter page, but bring it over to my Facebook page. I'd really like to remember. It's stuck in my head. I know the movie, but I remember the moment in that movie when Al Pacino snapped. He said, "You're out of order. He's out of order. That guy right there, he did it. He would want to do it again. He would do it again. That sick son of a, he did it." Well, that's where I'm at, y'all. I've seen enough. I've seen enough. And I'm trying, I'm trying. And I guess that's all I can do. Some of you will hear it. Some of you will rise up and donate so I can get my voice out there even more, because this is a human revolution. This is the people. This is our country. And this is happening in real time to us. A man who sat in a witness chair less than 3 days ago is dead. While he was testifying in a court of law, he comes up out of there, and before Monday morning can even come, which I told you guys, come Monday morning there will be more about that case. Well, you have it, don't you? We had Mr. Epstein. Mr. Epstein was supposed to go before American justice, and he ended up being murdered in his jail cell before our very eyes. We knew that man wasn't going to make it. We even joked about it in our coffee shops and in our jobs and on Twitter. Hell, I even listed the day he would die, and I missed it by 1 day. Now, when we can get down to doing it like that, y'all, we got problems. We got corruption all over the place. We got inside the gates of America the very things that we fought and died for to make sure it didn't get to our shores. We used to call those banana republics. Well, since corruption is starting to be as American as apple pie, what are we going to be? An apple pie republic? We used to slander them with banana republic because they had bananas and all that kind of stuff. Well, hey, we got apple pies, don't we? What are we going to do, guys? So I want to try to move into what went down with Adam Schiff. Look, guys, it's a problem. That opening statement that he did on Donald J. Trump, that's a crime in and of itself. Never seen nothing like it before. Now, I could try to use our American justice system and, try to make an example here and there, but it's getting kind of hard, y'all. It's getting kind of hard. You got police chiefs who decide which laws they want to enforce. Oh, I like this one, but I don't like that one. I'll go ahead and let these guys slide, but not you. Under the conditions that we're living, I want you to picture this, because somewhere in America it happened. Somewhere in America it happened because of all the craziness we're letting go on in our country. Picture this one, ladies and gentlemen. Picture an American veteran who cannot find a job, who's struggling to make things happen, who needs some medical care and a little shelter too because he's homeless, you see, and he could not pay his child support. Not that he didn't want to, he could not, because he doesn't have the resources. And so what does the dutiful machine, the system, do to him? Oh, they revoke his license, they revoke his passport, they do all manner of things. They reach into his bank account and take his 32 cents that was in there that he was kind of hoping to maybe buy a bottle of water with. And there he lay on a public street corner as an illegal alien steps over him and walks into the Department of Motorized Vehicles and gets a driver's license and the right to vote in his country that he fought and died for. Correction, still alive. Some died. That's the country we're living in today. What I just spoke to you, I promise you somebody lived that. And here we sit, chilling, doing our thing. Oh yeah, we're doing rallies. We got flags on freeways, and we're talking about voting in 2020 for Donald J. Trump, and we're going to make America great. But in the meantime, people are dying and suffering in our country because we have legislators like Adam Schiff doing the things that they're doing. And what are we doing? We're turning on our TV, hoping that somebody on Fox News has something new to say, and they don't. We're listening to this show and that show and this show, hoping that it's going to make us feel good. Well, it does for about 2 to 3 hours. Then what? I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that what I'm here to do is not comfort you. No, that's not what I'm here to do. I wished it was. Don't you think I wished that I could be the feel-good man. Who wouldn't want that? Hell, most of you would like me even more. But I'm not here for that. And I wished I could be quiet. Because if I was quiet, ladies and gentlemen, go through my Facebook pages. Go over to my old page and take a look at the Jaguars and the Corvettes and this and that. Been there, done that, had that. And the Lord God took it all away from me. And he and I had a long wrestle. And when I came back up off that tear-soaked pillow on my bed, I made him a promise. Because he kept telling me, Kenny, open your mouth. Now I got a lot of stuff going on with me because I'm a fighter. So that means I don't look so good. I'm not the pretty boy. So I don't do a lot of videos and stuff like that. I just put my word out there. And the Lord told me, oh, you're going to be ashamed of me because your grill is looking this way or this or that? I need you to open your mouth. Well, I've been doing it, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not going to stop. I may never get to the White House. I really don't care about that. What I care about is, did I get to you? Because, see, I'm down for Donald J. Trump, too. I really, really, really am. I was down for him in 2015 when people were laughing their butts off thinking that he would become president. And here I am because the Lord started opening up doors. I'm on iHeartRadio. I didn't do radio. I'm an ex-cop, ex-military person, security chief, all these things, and this was my life. Escorting movie stars to the Grammys and to the Oscars. You know, doing inbound details for retiring NBA athletes in their last few years while they go to the sports chalet and sign basketballs. I was the one that got them in and out of those details and got them ready at their homes and took them to their events. That was me. My life was good. But I was told that was going to change. And so I started opening my mouth. And people would come to me and say, I heard you on the radio last night. Now, I thought they were giving me accolades, but see, no. They are leftist, Democrat, socialites, VIPs, all this kind of stuff that I used to work for, and I didn't know what they were doing, was warning me. They were like, I heard you on the radio last night. Quite interesting, because I was supporting Donald J. Trump, you see. And so the phone started ringing a lot less, and those calls kind of dried up. And so here I am, opening my mouth and speaking the truth to the people. I hope you hear it when I do, because this is me now. Oh, it's time for a station break. I was going to run over, and I'm not doing that no more. I'm going to try to stay disciplined here, so go nowhere. We are going to be talking about Adam Schiff and what he really, really did and what that really, really meant. Go nowhere. We'll be right back after these messages. Hey, everybody, it's Ken White back for the second segment of the Southside Unicorn Show on Saturday, obviously. Saturday in the Park. Love that song, Chicago. Come to mention I'm from Chicago. So, yeah, let me just try to stay, coherent and cogent here. This show, in fact, the explanation may go into two shows. It may end up being Saturday and Sunday show because, Glenn Beck did something the other night. I used to listen to Glenn Beck, or should I say I used to watch Glenn Beck all the time when he first got started. When I would manage to make it home in the evenings, I would sit down and I would take in Glenn Beck like a religion almost. Then, in my opinion, I felt like the cheese slid off the grid. I felt like, the man, now he's kind of looking like a half-baked Colonel Sanders or something. And that really got me worried. But he really did something the other night. He connected the dots on a level that is undeniable. So I'm going to ask you, one, go check out that Glenn Beck breakdown of the Ukrainian phone call and how it flowers out into so many different areas, because it does. It does. And on that, I'm dovetailing my show into that, because they never seem to want to share with you the simple and the obvious. Everybody, and I don't want to be put in a position of sounding like I'm knocking people, because I'm not. A lot of the radio personalities that are out there, I admire them, respect them, and know some of them. And, they're doing their thing. I have to do my thing. And it may not necessarily be as, I don't even have a word for it, but it may not be exactly what they're doing. Okay? Case in point, the Ukrainian transcript for the phone call. It's not that hard, folks. Everybody's all looking off in all these different pages of that phone call. I'm thumbing through to try to get back to it real quick. It is not that hard. Common sense rules the day. They said that, and the Constitution still holds that up, that you only have to be born here and be 35 years of age to be the president. It did not say you got to have a master's degree and a pedigree so damn tall that you got to use a ladder to look at the top page. Didn't say any of that. It said you got to be 35 years of age and born here. And that's because what they would hope would happen is that any leader imbued by God with common sense, intelligence, honor, and integrity could lead this nation. But we got tricked a long, long time ago. Somewhere down the line, lawyers felt like they were the only ones that could be politicians. That was a problem right then and there. And then come all the suchy-muches and this and that and the oligarchies and the people who've been there for 40 damn years, like Nancy Pelosi. And they complicated what should be a very simple process. Running the government of the United States of America should be the easiest thing in the world, because technically we're supposed to be running ourselves. They're there to make sure we don't have potholes. They're there to make sure that our military is so damn strong that nobody on the planet would want to mess with us. That's really their job. The rest of it is all fluff. Everybody likes to try to say, oh, we're a socialist country anyway. What about schools? What about stoplights? What about... Look, everything in the world has a little bit of socialism, and it is the connectivity of a culture. It is the connectivity of civilization. But if I sat there and gave you 2 pints of vodka and poured it down your throat, you would surely die. Too much of anything is a bad thing. So that little bit of socialism we have that helps to tie our nation together in a common sense, intelligent world, it's fine and dandy. We don't need no more of it than what we already have. So this incredible push from the Democrats and from the left to try to make us be more of a socialist, Marxist, fascist country, wrong. But you know what? When people start dying in jail cells, when people who gave witness to our court systems about justice end up dead less than 48 hours later, I smell socialism. I smell fascism. I smell Marxism all over that. So when it comes to that transcript, if you haven't printed it out, you need to. If you haven't printed it out, you need to go get the unclassified or declassified order by the President of the United States on September 24th, 2019 of the Memorandum of Telephone Conversation, subject telephone conversation with President Zelensky of Ukraine. You want that 5-page transcript. You want it on a clipboard next to you while you listen to the radio or while somebody else tries to explain to you what the hell is going on. Okay, because it's real simple. It kills Adam Schiff. It kills all that stuff they're doing. And oh yeah, by the way, for all of you on Facebook who've been saying you want to listen to the show because you want to hear what I mean by there will be 7 whistleblowers, stay with me. Be true. listen to the show, get through the commercials, let a brother get paid. If you're not going to donate, at least listen to the show through the commercials so I can get some kind of Skrilla, because I got to do it in order to buy equipment. I'm trying to get all my stuff up so I can do even more, be out there. But you can't go out there without the equipment. I need your help. Okay? So get this transcript, and those of you who have it, can you please turn to page 2 of the telephone call to Zelensky? Page 2, paragraph 3 from President Zelensky. President Zelensky says to our president. Now remember that term, our president. It's going to have a key point in this show today. Zelensky, well, yes, to tell you the truth, we are trying to work hard because we wanted to drain the swamp here in our country. We brought in many, many new people, not the old politicians, not the typical politicians, but we want to have a new format and a new type of government. You, talking about President Trump, are a great teacher for us in that. That's what Zelensky said to President Trump. The end. I could stop there. I'll go into the next part of it, but I'm going to expand on this for a minute. You got Schiff trying to tell you that President Trump has to extort him like an old-time gangster and all this and that, oh God, what is his name? The mayor that is now his lawyer is jumping out of my head. Oh, I hate that when that happens. You guys know what it is. Help me out with it. Click me with it. But he goes over there and Schiff tries to say that even he was extorting this man. You don't need to extort anybody who's trying to be like you. If somebody is down for you, what are you extorting them for? You homies, you buddies, you riding to die. Trump turns around on page 3 and he says at the first paragraph, this is President Trump, and I like to call it a Richard Kimball moment. It's a Richard Kimball moment. If any of you have ever seen all the different Giuliani, his name is Giuliani. If any of you have ever seen the series The Fugitive, dun 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 dun, and it had all these different incarnations, of people trying to get away from the authorities, right? And what was the main theme of it? They were not trying to necessarily get away from law enforcement. They were trying to use the freedom they had to prove their innocence. Well, paragraph number 1 on page 3 is our president sounding just like Dr. Richard J. Kimball in The Fugitive. Take a listen. The president, I would like you to do us a favor, though, because our country has been through a lot, and Ukraine knows a lot about it. I would like you to find out what happened with this whole situation with Ukraine. They say CrowdStrike. I guess you have one of your wealthy people, the server, they say, right? Ukraine has it. There are a lot of things that went on. The whole situation. I think you're surrounding yourself with some of the same people. I would like to have the Attorney General call you or your people, and I would like you to get to the bottom of it. As you saw, the whole nonsense ended with a very poor performance by a man named Robert Mueller. An incompetent performance, but they say a lot of it started with Ukraine. Whatever you can do, it is very important that you do it if that's possible. There's no caveats in that paragraph. There are no directives in that paragraph. They're all requests. There's no crime. You don't have to read any other part of this 5-page transcript or, ironically, the 9-page response from the first alleged whistleblower who is nothing more than a spy, who is nothing more than a leaker. And if we were lockstep solid serious about getting rid of corruption in Washington, we would find that person, we would incarcerate that person, and they would stay there for a goodly period of their life. And anybody else who tried to do what this is would go to jail or face charges of treason. Because look, we are on the verge. The largest loss of life that America ever suffered was in the Civil War. And I want to remind you, that was with 81 caliber single shot rifles, couple Gatling guns, some bombs. Those were basic weapons. I mean, they were brutal, the caliber and all of that, and the carnage, blowing off legs and everything. But we lost the most soldiers in that war because there were soldiers on both sides, all were American. Now you think about pistol grip pumps on my lap at all time, and Uzis and MAC-10s, and some of the stuff people got in their basement that you don't even want to know they got. Armaments that could stop a tank inside South Central. You imagine if we have to cut loose on each other, the carnage and the death and the loss and the vulnerability of our country. Because if we get busy like that, boom, woo, in our streets against each other, yo fool, you with Trump, yo fool, you with Schiff, pop, 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 pop. Do we really want to get down to that? Or do we want to stop the madness now and simply incarcerate and arrest Adam Schiff, Mueller, Rice, Comey? These are about 50 people that need to go to hell to jail. But somehow, some way, we lack the courage to do it. We even have Hillary Clinton dreaming of running for president again because we failed to indict her. Indict a woman who did more than some soldiers have done when it comes to OPSEC, when it comes to information security. And they are languishing in prisons right now. I don't know what Hillary's done, man. I don't know what she's got on people. But for some reason, people scared to touch her. Hell, I would. I'd arrest her if I could get close enough to her. The trick of it is who would receive her from me. And then who would charge her. And then who would do the process of the trial. None of these cowards. Because see, it takes courage to get rid of evil. It takes courage to get rid of evil. And if you lack the courage to stand up to evil, well then, evil gonna have at you, and they're gonna be doing all kind of wacky stuff like trying to impeach a president for absolutely vaporous air as you stand by and watch it go down. We're gonna get to this Schiff report in just a minute, but we gotta take another station break. We'll be right back after these messages.
My name is Toot Sweet, and I'm New York City's original artist, singing for the cause of freedom. I've spent the last 10 years of my life documenting history through my music. It's like a recipe that's blessing me, bringing out the best of me, aggressively testing me to create my own destiny and understanding, universally accepting adversity and learn more lessons in life than you're learning any. And when I'm in need of a dose of reality to escape the liberal land of make-believe, I tune in to the Southside Unicorn, where the truth is as solid as New York City concrete. My name is Toot Sweet, and you're listening to my friend Kent White on the Southside Unicorn, and this party's just getting started.
Yes, sir.
What's your name, boy?
Mayo. Zach Mayo, sir.
How did you slip into this program? I didn't know the Navy was so hard up.
You got an injury there, Mayo? Not exactly, sir.
Hey, this is really wonderful work. Where'd you get this, Mayo?
Subic Bays, Philippines, sir.
Ah, ought to recognize the work. Be proud of them wings, They're the only ones you're gonna leave here with. Mayonnaise.
Hey, thank you for staying with me. This is Ken White, Southside Unicorn Show, and we are in the third segment, and I hope you're on the edge of your seat waiting to hear the truth. Now, all of you out there, some of you see what's going on. My show is being messed with. My Twitter page is being handled. Look, I go on Twitter, and I see all kind of activity, but they kind of letting me know, or they want me to know, that they are doing something to my page. Every time I go on, got hundreds of people doing stuff, but there's only 20 likes at the bottom, 20 hits that somebody has done something with my page, but yet you can see the hundreds of contacts, but my screen only shows 20. You can see people joining my Twitter page at 10s and 12s at a time. 10 this moment, 15 minutes later another 20 join, 25 minutes later another 30 join. So basically a couple hundred a day, and my count of followers has not changed in the last 3 days. I'm in some type of fake bubble. You know, it's like with what's his name, Dr. Strange, where they have that anti-room, that fake room where you can go in and practice magic, but it's not the real world. It's like a stasis room. That's kind of like where they have my page. Little bits get out. And thank you for all of you loyal listeners who have been testing it, because you're sending stuff and then sending me the proof saying, look, Kenny, I sent this, but it didn't get to you. You know, this is what's going on. So I really need your help. You got to come into the alternate areas with me, like Spreaker. Go ahead and become a member on Spreaker. And that way the numbers increase, and I can be propelled into other areas where the show will get picked up and listened to. Because the things I'm saying, Facebook, Twitter, they don't want this being heard by the general population. Trust me, they don't. But how do they stop me? If they stop me too hard, it's too damn clear. It's too damn obvious, because I am that much in the visibility. But they can definitely still keep trying to clamp me down. So now, look. In this world, there are organizations. We call them the CIA, MI6, KGB, you know, all these different secret organizations that do espionage, spying, all that stuff. And let me tell you something. This world is not wired to think the way you think it is. There's a world underneath this world. Why do you think that everybody is all of a sudden in Las Vegas on the second anniversary of one of the worst massacres in America, where law enforcement is still saying, I don't know why he did that. I don't have a clue. Really? Really? Now, I'm going to do this because I have the human beings who can back it up. And if it really comes down to it, if my credibility gets questioned too hard, I'm going to ask those people to please come forward and verify what I'm about to say to you right now. And I'm saying it from a position of knowing. Man, I can't believe we're going to do this. The Las Vegas event, as I call it. What would you say if I could prove to you that 4 days before it occurred, I told several people exactly what was going to happen, where it was going to happen, and the day to the day that it was going to happen? What would you say? Well, the people that I said it to didn't believe me on the night that I said it to them, and I'm telling you, there are people in my life who will verify this. I say things and people go, Kenny, crazy. Hell, I was on the Lou Desmond and Company show, and the host of the show, who's a good friend of mine, in the beginning when he would let me sidekick with him, because that's where I cut my teeth on iHeartRadio on his show, I would say stuff on his show. And he would lean over in his chair, look at me and be like, man, you need to cut that out. You are risking your credibility. And then a week later, a few days later, he himself would have to go on the air and say, you know, remember last week when I said Kenny was like totally off base? Well, he was right. Don't know how he did it, But he was right. Well, sadly, I was right about the Las Vegas event. And I also told them 1 year to the day they would close the case and say they had no idea what it was, when everybody knows full well what it is. It's a war, ladies and gentlemen, in a world beneath this world, for power and control, for the disc that Hillary Clinton thought went away, but just like a porn shot that you put out there on the internet, it never goes away. Somebody has a copy somewhere. Well, that copy is now in the hands of the good guys. Cost a lot of lives, but that disc is in the hands of the good guys. Okay? But the war still wages on because there's a lot of dirty hands all over the place. You think the exposure of those people at the colleges who were paying for their kids to get into school was by accident? No, that was to turn the worm on some other things that are going on, because those same highly connected people are connected to the people who are connected to the mess. So those are more allocutions. So see, the noose is closing in on true corruption. And if you've ever tried to kill a thing, it fights its hardest in its last breaths. Kicks, bites, does everything imaginable. We have Rashida Tlaib talking about going into the homes of Republican politicians who don't kiss them in their butt come Monday and arrest them. When have you ever heard of something like that happening in America? But we have barbarians at the gate. Hell, we have barbarians in the gate. And so it's all loose right now, ladies and gentlemen. So I really can't fault Adam Schiff for what he did on the opening hearings of this fake impeachment. But he used some training from military organizations, from PSYOPs. He used that training. And when I heard him talking, I remembered it. I'm like, wait a minute. Where have I heard this cadence? Where have I heard this style of speak before? Ladies and gentlemen, the art of manipulation, it doesn't just exist in marriages where wifey's trying to give her husband a clue as to what she wants for her anniversary, dropping hints that subtly causes that man to go, I think I should go to Norman Jewelers and buy her some diamond earrings. She's been talking about missing diamond earrings for so long. And voila, she gets a box with diamond earrings in it. And the hardest part of the whole deal is trying to act surprised when she opens up the box. Huh? We are easily manipulated. So imagine how much more easier it is by trained professionals who know how to do it. It's been done for hundreds of years, ladies and gentlemen, and it's only gotten better. And so, like I said, when I heard Adam Schiff talking, because see, my mind is constantly geared to deflect those type of things. That's why people read my works on Twitter. They listen to me talk. They read my stuff on Facebook and they go, it kind of doesn't make sense. It's grammatically incorrect. No, the flesh reading of my writings is at 17 to 18. That's some pretty deep, high stuff. I write and speak and think the way I do to deflect the game. Because if words are arranged in a certain way, it will cause a reaction in the average person. Now, that doesn't work on everybody. But just like they said, and it's true, correct me if I'm wrong, the average intelligence of the average person is about 90 to 100 IQ. If you fall within that zone, you're susceptible. And who does that cover? Millennials, perhaps? 19-year-olds, perhaps? Even 35-year-olds, perhaps. That's who's in that zone. Who's subscribing to saying that AOC is okay with a constituency of people who say, it's time to eat the babies? 90 to 100 IQ. So when Adam Schiff started talking, on the opening hearings. All that came to mind to me. You know who came to mind to me the most? And these things you got to look up for yourself. Now, I'm not going to kid you. They're deleting it at the speed of light. So maybe you need to go tonight. Maybe you need to go tomorrow. Because, see, by Monday, they really don't want nobody else knowing this stuff. I'm taking a hella chance putting this out here, but I'm going to do it. You need to look up a guy named Ted Anneman. It's spelled T-E-D-A-N-N-E-M-A-N-N. Who is he, you ask? You're wondering, who is Ted Anneman? Why did Kenny just say this man's name? Well, some of you may know, and for those of you who don't know, when you think about Star Wars, and here we go, this is the part where the Southside Unicorn Show gets kind of cray-cray, right? But when you think about Star Wars, what do they say? May the Force be with you. You know, Jedis have the Jedi mind trick. All these things are derived from reality. Whatever they use in movies 9 times out of 10, it has a hint of truth from somewhere. Whether it be Taoism, Buddhism, Jingoism, whatever, they pull from the truth to make these movies have some gravitas in our understandings. So the Jedi mind trick, the Force trick. It's real, ladies and gentlemen. It's real. It's really real. This guy, Ted Anneman, he's what they call a mentalist. He's one of those guys that does these magic tricks where you think it's raw and organic and it's just happening right there. But in truth, what Mr. Anneman is doing is he's giving you auto-suggestion and causing you to do what he needs you to do to make the magic trick have its fruition. There's a book out there, okay? And it's called 202 Methods of Forcing. Because there's actually 507 to I think it's 510 ways to do forcing. Forcing is using your voice, using your tone, using your words to create a reaction, to elicit a reaction in human beings. So say you wanted a person to pick a particular card. There's a certain way you speak to them. There's a certain way you manipulate things. And they will think they have free will. Like picking the time on a clock, and you happen to magically match the time on that clock. There's ways you can speak to people, and they think they're still in control, but they're really not. And they pick the card, or they pick the time, and then you have the coinciding matching time or card, and they go, ooh, how did you do that? Now, if you're corrupt, now if you're evil, if you're wicked, you're going to use that power to make it seem like you're wiser and more altruistic and more, well, altruistic isn't the right word, make more superior. You know, like arrogant, I thought I say something I can't say on the radio. Arrogant, pencil neck, Adam Schiff. He would use that power in that way to make himself seem stronger, better, and greater than Donald J. Trump. Now, wouldn't he? We have got to get to the nitty-gritty of it, but we keep running into those station breaks. We'll be right back after these messages. Go nowhere. We're going to wrap it up about Adam Schiff and the 7 upcoming whistleblowers. We'll be right back.
I'd ask you to sit down, but you're not going to anyway. And don't worry about the vase.
What vase?
That vase.
I'm sorry.
I said don't worry about it. I'll get one of my kids to fix it.
How did you know?
Oh, what's really going to bake your noodle later on is, would you still have broken it if I hadn't said anything?
Hey everybody, this is Ken White, Southside Unicorn Show, and we're in the fourth segment of Wassup Saturday, and we are talking about Adam Schiff, corruption, and all the things that are going on, forced mind words and manipulation and all those things. And if you had heard that link is from The Matrix, where the Oracle was talking to Neo, and she said, don't mind that vase, and he's like, what vase? He turns around, he knocks the vase over, and she says, what's going to bake your noodle is if you would have still broken it if I didn't say anything. It's along that same vein, ladies and gentlemen, that I want to introduce you to the idea of what Adam Schiff did. But before I can do that, because this thing is so complex, uncracking it and trying to lay it out so it can be seen will almost make me be seen as nuts. But I don't fear it at all, because when I talk, when I do these things, I am vindicated every time, because I'm not the one putting this out there. I'm simply speaking it. So I have no fear of it. But you got to understand something. By the time President Donald J. Trump did what he did by releasing the 5-page report of the phone call, he flipped the script on evil. Because, see, that's exactly what we're supposed to do. We go to church, we stand in these pulpits, we do all this stuff, and we shake and woo, woo, woo. But when it comes time for the really real, what do? Well, you can call Don, you've seen it on my Twitter page. I went after Brennan because Brennan just won't shut his mouth. The corrupt traitor won't shut his mouth. So I'm going to meet him every time. I will be there every time, Brennan, when you open your mouth. Comey, who's been extremely quiet. Obama, say something. Say something. I'm going to be right there. I have to. I wished I didn't. I wished I was still sometimes doing what I used to do. But that life is gone. It's behind me now. So I'm sitting there talking to people about what's going on, and I get those kind of reactions. But now, let's get into it. I'm going to have to break it down step by step, and I'm going to try to have it make sense. But, that's right. Before I go into that, I got to premise something. Get this idea and understand it. When President Donald J. Trump released the 5-page manuscript from the phone call, he tore their whole plan up. Because they figured they had a Mitt Romney on their hands. They figured they had the turtle on their hands. Just a regular old Republican who just wants to be the Washington Generals. They don't really care about what's going on. Just let me please keep my job and my nice oak desk and my importance and my title. Let me have all of that, and y'all can go and do what you want to do with the country. Just, make sure that I get my money and make sure I can go down into the, cafeteria of the Congress and be important. That's your average Republican from days gone by, like Mitt Romney. But that's not Donald J. Trump. He's a fighter. He's compelled to fight. Do you think God put him in that seat to play around? They say he doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. God chooses who he uses. Donald J. Trump is being used in a mighty way. He should be the beacon that he is for us. That man is in the White House catching hell upon hell's hell. And yet he wakes up every morning and he handles his business. And he even sent us a tweet saying, hey guys, I went ahead and took care of that Social Security issue, and I made sure that we're going to get some extra money for you guys in the labor force going forward next year. They done dropped everything they can on this man, and he's still grinding for us every day. That should be inspiration. Not for us to sit back silently on the sidelines and watch this go down. On Monday morning, we should all, and I'm contacting Congress, I'm contacting Schiff, I'm going to look into the laws and the bylaws of what it takes to begin to request the impeachment of a senator. And if an American citizen can do it, I'm filing the papers my damn self. It's time for Schiff to go. Instead of being the bank robber trying to investigate the bank robbery. Are we that stupid? We cannot be. So Schiff knows that Trump is gunning for him. Schiff knows that just like if you're evil and corrupt, you're going to think everybody else is evil and corrupt too. Schiff believes that there are bugs and taps being put on him right now. So he can't really talk freely the way he was before they started this. After he saw how hard Trump is coming at him, after he realized, because let's not kid ourselves, that little dweeb realizes he is upset Donald J. Trump this time. This time it's personal. And you better bet that he's running scared on the inside. He's running scared on the inside. Because just like with Japan in Pearl Harbor, one of the generals said, I fear all we've managed to do is awaken a giant and fill him with a terrible resolve. That's Donald J. Trump. That's President Trump right now. So Schiff didn't want to talk openly, or should I say, he didn't want to talk under those canons that he was talking to, his operatives. That's how we found out that he had communication with the so-called whistleblower when he lied. See, he believed that we didn't know that. He believed he was operating in some veil of secrecy, or he would not have been so dumb as to say, oh, I haven't talked to them in any kind of way. And then we go 4 Pinocchios deep. Oh, yeah, you did. He made that statement because he believed he was operating in secrecy, and he was shown that he wasn't. So now on to the presentation of the opening. The reason he was talking the way he was, ladies and gentlemen, part of it was mentalism, forced thinking for the public, for everybody who was watching. And you better bet the majority of America was watching that day when the hearings were open. Every radio station, everybody was doing simulcast and having it played out. So it hit our ears. It hit America's ears. And you better bet that Schiff wanted us to pick the ace of spades. Schiff wanted us to pick 1 o'clock on the clock. And if a mentalist wanted you to make that decision, oh, he's talking in terms, using phraseologies and different imagery to cause you subconsciously to choose impeachment, to choose indictment, to choose to not like Donald J. Trump because of what this quasi-wannabe mentalist was trying to pull. But on the other hand, since he lost his covert ability to communicate with his operatives, he sent them a message too. So it was a twofold thing. On one end, he's trying to manipulate and cause ideations in the American public of how to feel and think about President Donald J. Trump. It's part of the Sal Alinsky program anyway, but it goes a little bit deeper because this is a stylized training that is used in our military. It's used by the Secret Service, by CIA, basically anybody from the company. Everybody from the company knows how to do it. You find yourself unarmed around enemies. Well, instead of having the, what's it called, the Helsinki syndrome, right? You end up enlisting them because of how you're talking to them. Do you understand that sometimes when a person is gagged, it's not because they're going to scream for help. It's because of what they're going to be saying to you. And 9 times out of 10, the controllers of a group that has somebody bound and gagged, they want them gagged because their henchmen, their cronies, might become susceptible to what's coming out of the mouth of the person that they have. That's how deep this gets, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me, I'm telling you the truth. So now we got Schiff. He's working 2 parts. He's using forced mentalism to create a nationwide mild version of hypnotism, to get us to start moving in a direction of, it'll be okay if they impeach Donald J. Trump. And in comes Romney, who's part of their cabal. Don't forget, he's part of them. After seeing what he did on this thing, now I'm more convinced than ever. He took a dive when it came to running against Obama. We should prosecute him because he did not try to win that election. He simply ensured the win for Obama, and that in itself should be illegal. So on one end, you got Schiff trying to force mentalism on the American people to hypnotize them in that direction. And on the other hand, ladies and gentlemen, and you're not going to believe this, but that's how I know there's going to be seven whistleblowers coming forward. Because on the other hand, ladies and gentlemen, he was sending a message to his teams because he can't communicate with them right now. He can't pick up a phone and call these people. His phones are bugged. You know, when it came to this thing, Donald J. Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, he said, I can't tell you whether they're investigating these people or not. I can tell you this much, they probably are. Don't you think, you know, Schumer and Schiff and Pelosi heard that? Oh, they heard it. And they butts puckered. So the other half of this message, when we play it, you need to be thinking, or you should try to see if I'm right by weighing it out, eliminate the impossible, and no matter what remains, something's got to be true. On one end, he's mentalizing. On the other end, he's sending out a blatant message to his operatives of what he needs them to do before Monday. So now they're going to start trickling in, all these whistleblowers, because they listened to the hearings too, and that's how they got their instructions. Because he cannot talk to them openly anymore because he's being bugged. And that's where, you know, I'm going to have to break down that hearing step by step. And when I do, you're going to see it and you're going to go, wow, you know. So we'll get into it in just a second. Let me get the papers. Okay, I got the papers, but, you know, I'm looking at the clock, and because I need the monetization, I need the budget, I need the donations and whatnot, because this stuff does require resources for me to do more and do better. We are almost up against the clock, and like I said in the beginning, this may end up being a 2-hour situation. So what will happen is, what would normally be the relaxed Sunday show, I'm just going to continue this and carry on with it. But, you know, because there's things I need to read to you. Like, for example, an article from Discover magazine, which is a scientific type of magazine. And the title of the article I want to read to you, you might want to dig it up yourself and learn about it as we go along. It's called Use the Force: How Magicians Control Your Decisions. Our choices are often not as independent as we would like to believe. This article was written on September 11th of 2012, 9/11 of 2012, and the title of it is Use the Force: How Magicians Can Control Your Decisions. That's one of the articles I want to read to you, and there's several more and a couple of things I got to premise you with so that you understand what you're hearing come out of Adam Schiff's mouth. He was literally being a mentalist up on that stage. He is guilty of a crime, ladies and gentlemen, and he should be arrested promptly on Monday morning. With the gravity of the hearings, with what was at stake, and with screwing with the basically the good conscience of the American people, Adam Schiff went way too far, but he had to because of what's at stake in their world. These people are rolling for all the dice, ladies and gentlemen, and we better be ready to keep up and catch up. Now, I regret I had to do it like this, but please come back on Sunday and we're going to continue with it, because the Adam Schiff statement is literally 10 minutes in and of itself. And to break down a 10-minute speech with all the different things that have to be put into it is going to take the show. And we just ran out of time. So please come back tomorrow on the Southside Unicorn Show Sunday. Get your friends. You want to sit around and listen to this, you take what Glenn Beck did, you take what all the other talking heads are doing, and then you add some of this Southside Unicorn realism on it, and you'll see the whole picture clear as day. And hey, then you'll probably be ready to rock and roll like I am, because enough is enough is enough. This is Ken White, host of the Southside Unicorn Show, and I want to thank you all for being with me. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Take care.
A real celebration.